Okay, welcome everybody. I hope everybody had a blessed Thanksgiving holiday. I had a great time. Obviously, didn't do any podcasts last week. I was hoping to relax a little bit. I did take a little bit of time off, but it was one of those weeks. One of those weeks where stuff kept coming in the door, and how many people? Computer crash. Yeah, it happened to me, but it's my fault. I drive the stuff that I use pretty hard, and I lost my trusty desktop, and I hung on to it for a little bit too long. 2013 at 9 years. That's pretty good. Anyway, good to be back. I'm going to start off today. We're going to talk about COVID. We're going to talk about China, the unrest that's taking place. It's not just about COVID there, what the repercussions are, what the fallout is going to be, what are possible scenarios, what might the communist Chinese government do? We're going to get into that. Also going to do a little bit, I can almost like a business class 101, if you will. I'm going to talk a little bit about two companies. We're going to talk about Carvana, and we're also going to talk about Beyond Meat. And I'm going to tie this into private equity and Wall Street. It's going to be a teachable moment. So we're going to do that today as well. And we got a litany of other business stories and stuff that we're going to need to react to. But let's start off. You got the COVID lockdown protests. There was an apartment building, and this is the information I got out. Apartment building that caught on fire in China, and multiple people, saying as many as 10 people were killed in that fire. They couldn't escape. Because the doors were locked shut because of zero COVID policy. This is the bloody premise, for crying out loud, of the last season of Bosch on Amazon, where they locked the door shut because of crime. There was a fire and nobody could get out. Well, you got zero COVID. Zero COVID policies. Chinese government to this day claims that under 6,000 people in their country have died due to COVID. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. That's their story. You know what else they're sticking to? They won't accept any vaccines from the United States. They won't. We've got them. They're expiring. They won't accept them. Unless, of course, we give them the special sauce. It's not just that. You got major riots taking place at the Foxconn plant. This obviously hit Apple. It's part of their supply chain. There's been news coming out that there's going to be massive delays in certain phones that they want to get out. This is more or less about living conditions and pay and a myriad of other things. But let's just put this in perspective. This is the biggest protest China has seen since Tiananmen Square. Since 1989, since Tiananmen Square, this is the biggest protest out there. You've actually have people calling for the resignation of Xi. They want Xi Jinping to step down. They want to do away with a lot of this. The Chinese government censors are in overdrive trying to censor stuff. Not to mention stuff, they're actually using bots to jam up their internet so information can't get out. And you know what they're jamming it with? Porn. Yeah, they're using bots to send out all this porn and all these advertisements for hookers to slow down their net so information can't get out. Now, I don't know if you caught this as well. They actually had to go in and censor the World Cup soccer games, the fans, because they didn't want their people to see that, well, the World Cup's going on and they're not wearing masks there. How come we're wearing them here? They've got issues. And we've talked at great length about these issues again and again. Again and again here on this program. We've talked about real estate, myriad of things that China has to deal with. Now, we'll do a quick compare. Remember 89. What was the technology back in 89? The internet. There was no cell phones, most certainly not in China. That's very few. No, fax machine. A lot of the information got out of China via fax. Today, China has set up a system where it is the ultimate for all you people who love cancel culture. You should move to China because they've got that shit down. They've got it down. They can prevent you from buying food if they want to. They can prevent you from getting on a bus or a train or an airplane. They can cancel you. You have a social credit score. These people that are actually opening up their mouths when they get caught, good luck. Good luck. Hey, the Chinese government, they're doing the whole, Harvey Weinstein, everybody type of a situation. Now, Harvey Weinstein is a guy that, most certainly should have been canceled, but we know how out of control it's gotten here, but they're able to do that there. How far is it going to go? Will that continue? I mean, again, they're going to have to weigh this. Will more and more people revolt? Will more and more people push back? We're seeing the riots that are taking place, the unrest that is taking place. Another thing, I don't want to see it happen, but it's something that we have to consider. It's something we have to think about. One of the reasons why you're seeing the chip stocks get hit pretty hard today. What if China goes into Taiwan? We've got this national disunity at this point in time, unrest. People are pissed off. Let's wag the dog, baby. Love that movie. That was a great political flick. It really was. Wag the dog. Let's go to war. Let's go to Taiwan here and unite the country. Bring everybody together. Take all this other stuff off of the headlines. It's a possibility, people. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and you're going to see various different individual parade on TV and tell you what they see happening next, and that's what you're going to see. They don't know. They're guessing. I've done a ton of homework on this thing. I don't know. Do I think Xi Jinping, has he ever compromised? No. I don't see him really doing much in terms of compromise when it comes to this. I think that you're going to see some pretty harsh crackdowns. Now, because of this, you're seeing energy prices fall off a cliff, worried about economic growth in China. What's going to happen next? What you're seeing right now, they're not coming out with a bullhorn. CEO of XYZ company is not coming out with a bullhorn saying, we are moving our supply chains slowly but surely from China to Vietnam, India, back here to the United States. They don't want to do that. They got to be very, very stealthy and quiet about it because they want to piss China off. But that has to happen. It's happening right now, but that takes time. You can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden you got a chip plant built. So these are some of the issues that, again, we need to be thinking about. As investors. CEOs need to be making adjustments. Quite frankly, they should have done it ahead of time. The life of me, the policy, the long-term, foreign policy, the thought process behind this was so short-sighted. It was all about short-term profits, making as much money as we could as quickly as possible without any sort of concern about what if, long-term ramifications. I always go back to that line from the first Godfather movie. Again, not politically correct. So Godfather's telling Michael that women and children can be careless, but not men. We're careless here in our thinking and short-sighted in our thinking in so many ways. So many ways. Hey, sure, they were profitable short term. Sure, cash in as quickly as possible. You know what? I'll get my stock options. I'll sell. I'll leave, but no concern about what might happen. What might happen? Is it really a good idea to allow so much of our supply chains to be rooted to China? It's in the same way, we make fun of Europe all the time here on the program. Is it really so smart to have all of our energy, or such a large swath of our energy, come from Vladimir Putin and Russia? Dumb, dumb, and dumber. It's people what we're dealing with at this point in time. Again, we could take a look at some of the things that are happening in regards to energy right now. The United States is, we'd like to see energy prices come down. Biden can refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I don't know if you saw this. Chevron got licensed to pump oil in Venezuela again. Any thoughts on that, people? Huh? Maduro is the guy we were going against, but no. I guess we're going to continue to pump oil out of Venezuela again. It's kind of funny if you actually think about the nonsense coming on. Listen, okay, I don't care. I mean, we need the oil, pump it. Okay, the Venezuelan people that they got to figure out their own country. Yeah, we've been batting that thing back and forth. All from Chavez back to 2000. It's none of my freaking business, man. And that's, in my opinion, that's the tack that we got to take. What the hell's Venezuela going to do to us? Nothing. Let the Venezuelans decide what they want. I mean, it's not up to us to decide. A lot of people concerned about what's happening in Colombia right now and the changeover in the government there. Well, elections have consequences. That's their choice. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Again, founding fathers knew a little bit about foreign entanglements and wanted us to avoid them as well. Another thing here, Biden administration agrees to build a huge Gulf oil terminal in the, this is off of Texas. A lot of these things came out. They came out Wednesday, Friday, and want to make a big news, have the environmental wackos freak out. A quick story on the energy front, as well as reading into it, the amount of oil that has been found off the country of Guyana in South America, and whether or not we're gonna help them develop that. For all intents and purposes, the size of the find and the population that exists in that country would make, it'd be second in the world to barrels per capita next to Kuwait. So you're basically creating a rich country very quickly. I don't know. Sounds like a good idea. We're not moving on it though, but the Chinese are. Just saying, we might want to get going on that. Another quick thing when it comes to energy as well, that whole COP27 conference is done and over with, and I guess the people running the thing left in tears. None of the major countries agreed to any significant emissions reductions. They can't do that. We do have a new Greta though. Yeah, they've got a new Greta. Her name is American, Sofia Kiani. She's Iranian American, and again, she's a very attractive young lady. Big change when it comes to Greta. She's not scowling all the time. Great marketing on the part of the climate peeps out there. European officials are saying the United States is profiting from the Ukraine war, calling the Inflation Reduction Act very worrying. We told you that they were going to do this. And again, can you blame them? Part of the Inflation Reduction Act, the subsidies going to all of these green energy companies out there, car companies, whatever it may be. Well, you got to be in America. There's a made in America caveats when it comes to this. And the European governments are none too happy about this. They're also talking about the amount of money that we're making selling natural gas to them. And again, okay, stop your bitching and moaning. What are we supposed to give it to you for free? I mean, honestly, we pay for your military, for crying out loud. But we defend your ass. I mean, it's true. There's a story today. Do you know that the UK's military, their entire military, under 100,000 people, 72,000? 72,000. That's the UK. Anyway, quickly back to China, real quick, before we move on. That Bond villain, everyone's favorite Bond villain there, Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum, doing an interview, declaring China a role model, an option for various different countries, a model for other countries to follow. He was obviously talking about how wonderful the economic growth that China achieved in such a short period of time, which wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the United States. That's just the facts. It's the reality of the situation. But saying that it's a role model for other nations. Again, they love this stuff. Klaus Schwab, these leftists, they get off on COVID lockdowns. There's actual articles out that I saw over the course of the week, people calling for more masks again, wanting to go back to those days. Listen, for the life of me, if you want to live like that, why? I don't know. I mean, I can show you where the Chinese embassy is here in New York. You can go there. You can, say the United States is a racist, awful place. You can't stand it. And you know what? You want to declare political asylum and go move to China. Go move there. I don't get it. It's a model. Yeah, sure. Sure it is. Yeah, that's why so outside of North Koreans looking to escape, people looking, you're seeing a mass influx of refugees moving into China. No. All right, I want to do a little bit, change direction a little bit. Two stories that I found, pretty interesting. And we've talked about, not so much Carvana, but I've made fun of Beyond Meat here on the program because, again, I see through all the hype, all the BS. Again, the early part of my career was dealing with .coms and investment banking days and taking a look at, one prospectus after another and, being able to discern that these companies weren't going anywhere. But anyway, neither here nor there. Okay, Beyond Meat gets hyped up. They're always on. They were on CNBC on a regular basis. But stock price went. How high did it go? I forget what the valuation was at one point in time. $235 a share. Where is it now? 12, 13 bucks a share. Wow. Again, I could see right through this. One of the things is that vegetarians are put off by meat. They're put off by meat. So you're going to give them something that supposedly tastes like a burger. I think that's going to skeeve them out. And again, I have to deal with, my wife doesn't eat red meat. I'm a vampire. My wife doesn't eat red meat. She'll have chicken. She'll have fish. She doesn't like red meat. And I always go back to that from my big fat Greek wedding. What do you mean you don't eat no meat? Okay, we'll have lamb. Anyway, my wife was not going to eat a plant-based burger that supposedly tastes like a burger. It's going to skeeve her out. So basically, your market was trying to convince people who like meat not to eat meat, to eat this more expensive, and quite frankly, it's not healthier than it's goo. It's plant goo with all sorts of canola oil. Canola oil? Well, I use olive oil. That's it. All sorts of salt and whatnot. Some of the deals you struck. They actually, this is, if you're familiar, they're all over the South. Cracker Barrel stores. They had Beyond Meat sausages at Cracker Barrel. Anybody think that people going to the Cracker Barrel for an old time country store is going to want to have plant-based sausage? Yeah, me neither. But it's a woke company. It was plant-based. Plant-based! Again, it's left-wing porn. It is. The ears of the people on the left-wing porn. It's neato. Wow, it's cool. This great stuff. I mean, for if you're a venture capitalist, you take a look at this, you're like, I will fund you. Why wouldn't you? It's a great story. Carvana, their numbers are, they are in the toilet. That stock was at $377 a share. I don't know. It's at $5-6 now. $5-6 during the pandemic, and people needed to buy cars. They went there. And they were forced to buy this, national auction house because they didn't have enough cars. They bid off more that they can chew. But it didn't matter at that point in time. It's because the venture capitalists wanted them to do this. They wanted to push the issue the same way that they did with Beyond Meat. Now they got all sorts of quality issues, and they put up plants they built too quickly. Why? Why would they do this? Well, I want people to understand, okay, that the goal for a venture capitalist, in the same way, the goal for, let me break this, I'll take it back even further in time. Wolf on Wall Street, how many people have seen it? Jordan Belfort, okay? What did he do? What was their model? They would take a company, if you want to call it that, they would have their army of brokers and cold callers just out there pitching this thing, very small float, drive the price up, get the insiders out, the people that are running the shop, and then that's it. Now, venture capital, they do this over an extended period of time. Okay, it takes a lot longer now than it did in the past, but once that company goes public, they get out. They don't care about the long-term viability of the company. Doesn't matter to them anymore. They made their money. And that's, again, you have to understand the motivation of who you're doing business with. You really do. You need to understand the motivation. Okay? What's a venture capitalist want? They want a quick bang for the buck. They want in and out. They're no different than the boiler room operators, than the Jordan Belforts back in the day, or all the Wall Street firms that are still involved with this today. They're still involved with this today. The one difference is, and I've explained this before, is that today you're not getting in at the bottom. You're getting in at the tippy tip top. You remember back in the dot-coms that companies would go public, and they might double on the opening day, but they would keep going up. They hadn't had all of these rounds of financing and basically laddering the company up before it went public. You had the opportunity to get in closer to the ground floor. And our philosophy and strategy when it came to a lot of these tech companies, dot-com companies in the 1990s was to wait. Many of the companies that we got involved with were more of, we like to call toll keeper type of companies that provided the materials, the equipment, access to the internet. But I've said this before. I mean, when all of these companies, all these internet retailers were, all in vogue, that was everything was happening. You had Amazon, you had Pets.com, you had CD Now. Nobody knew who the winner was going to be. Again, back at that point in time, Jeff Bezos was packing up boxes of books and shipping them out himself. Their business model changed. And when I felt safer with their business model, that it was a sustainable business model, that's when we got involved. That's when we got involved. Hey, listen, okay? If you're one of the types are out there, you're one of those guys that can get involved at the bottom at some of these private equity deals. Again, you're gonna make money. But again, it's unfortunate that today, the goal has gotten away from building long-term sustainable businesses. Get garbage like this. Anyway. Oh, as well, to kind of tie this in, this came out Thanksgiving week. Last Tuesday, Labor Department finalized a rule that empowers retirement plan sponsors to invest based on environmental, social, and governance factors and put 401k to progressive political work. Labor Department cast its rule as a mere clarification of the 1974 Employee Retirement Income Security Act, ERISA, which requires that retirement plan sponsors act solely in the interests of participants and beneficiaries. A Trump labor rule barred retirement managers from considering factors that weren't material to financial performance and risk. Asset managers and pension plans claim the Trump rule limited their discretion to consider such ESG factors as climate, workforce diversity, and labor relations. The Biden Department of Labor said it created a chilling effect on ESG investing. Basically, what this does, I'm not making it up. This rule is a get out of jail free card for bad plan managers. They can just say that it wasn't my fault that you lost money. It wasn't my fault that I lost money for my clients. I was just investing in an ESG fashion, and they're not responsible. They're not responsible. Well, I'm just here to tell you that the only thing that I care about is performance and manage your money properly. I am not going to take into consideration climate, diversity, any of that bullshit when it comes to managing your money. Sorry, I'm not. Anyway, okay. The never-ending COVID emergency. Biden administration, again, Thanksgiving week, a lot to do. Canceled tens of billions of more dollars in student debt on the sly by extending its payment and interest moratorium for the umpteenth time. Again, technically, they can just keep doing this forever. Now, the courts rejected Biden's forgiveness plan, but technically, which I feel is unconstitutional, which Nancy Pelosi feels is unconstitutional. This he can do. And again, get your arms around this, people. Just think about it for a second. You pay taxes. That's your tax dollars that were taken and lent out to kids wanting to go to school. Okay. Again, I disagree. The government shouldn't be involved in any of this. Nothing. They shouldn't be involved in school funding, college funding at all. The market should bear the price. The price would come down. Again, conversation for another day. But you get people in charge that say, hey, you know what? These people don't have to pay it back. They don't have to pay it back. They don't have to pay interest. You're being a good steward of my money, your money, the country's money? No. Anyway, again, another story. I'm thrilled to see this. This is the direction the country needs to head in. More and more employers out there rethinking the need for college degrees for certain positions. No kidding. Certain jobs out there, I mean, you don't have to have a college degree. You can be taught. Other countries, very wealthy countries, I talk about Switzerland uses this apprenticeship model where you go and you don't even have to go to college to be a banker over there. They train you. It makes sense. No, but it's, again, you got a big business there. College is a big business. Big business. I'm starting to see it. Maybe it start to shift to some degree, and more people starting to wisen up and saying, "Wait a second here. I'm not spending this type of money. It's obscene." And actually, tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about graduating debt free. How much better you could be. I've talked about this before, and it's this kind of come to Jesus conversation you have to have with your kids. Everyone's financial situation is unique and different. But again, I can't even get my arms around the fact why you think it's okay to let your kid go to a school. Again, there's an ego thing involved. We all know it. Oh, I gotta put the sticker in the back of my car. Bucknell. Yeah, it's a great school. But it's expensive. I mean, do you really want to be 6 figures plus in debt? But it's a great experience. Yeah, there are a lot of great experiences that don't cost as much money. Again, everybody's got to take a couple steps back here. You're capable of taking a class from MIT on your computer. We all walk around with the power of gods, with all the information that we have in our smartphones that we can get at any point in time. Again, why is education getting more and more expensive? If that's the case, everything else, cost of running a business, everything due to technology continues to come down in price. Why is it that colleges and universities get more and more expensive? It's a business. It's because they can. And the same reason why we had all these cryptocurrencies and EFTs and all this other crap and companies that were flying through the roof because of easy money. There's easy money in colleges and universities. It's the same dynamic. Anyway. This new Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, I like her a lot. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but Italy is that there's these various different European groups that go and pick up migrants from Africa and take them across the Mediterranean, want to drop them off. And there was one ship there. Oh, we tried to dock in Italy, and Meloni's like, "No, we're done. But yeah, we'll take some kids or whatever it may be that are in difficult situations, but we want no part of this. Send it to a different country. Send it to France." Well, again, you had a big diplomatic row take place because Macron. Macron basically called out Italy and basically said that what they were doing was awful, terrible. What did he say exactly? Said that basically, Italy is disgusting, based in essence. I'm trying to translate it from French. Disgusting based upon its policies. Well, Meloni came back on this and basically called out Macron and France for what they are. They're full of it. And talking about how France France uses their power of their currency because they back a lot of the currencies in Africa, and all of the they went into child labor, and all of the policies of France, what they're doing to Africa that is forcing these migrants across. Called it out. Good for her. I like this one too. In a pledge to clamp down on a relief scheme that Meloni claims rewards laziness and is widely abused, the new Italian prime minister vowed to amend the citizens' income available across the country, making it conditional upon those who receive job offers while receiving the benefit to take the position. How many people out there have said this? You're getting unemployment. There's job openings everywhere. You get, a job offer. So-and-so company calls up. I need this amount of people. Send them over. I don't want to do that. Listen, coming from my position, the amount of jobs I've had in my life, janitor, construction, everything. The jobs that I had, and I'm saying to myself, I'm not above going back and doing any of those things. In fact, I'd rather be doing those things and getting any sort of assistance. Who the flip do you think you are that you're too good to do that type of work? Well, you think you're better than me? I'm just saying. If I can do all of those things, why can't you? Too good for you? How many people, you disagree? People rejecting work because they want to stay on government assistance. Oh, I know, Mr. Markowski, but they might not like it. They might have long COVID. They might have a bad back. Shut up. Okay? Suck it up, Buttercup. Elizabeth Holmes. You want a surefire way that you need to short a company? I guarantee way to short a company. If it's backed and it's praised by both Jim Cramer and Bill Clinton, get the hell out of it. Whether it be FTX, Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, oh yeah. Cramer and Clinton loved them both. Anyway, she was sentenced to 11 years in prison for her fraud. She actually had a lot of people, including New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, who said Holmes has within her a sincere desire to help others by fighting climate change and world hunger. So you ran a scam, but you should be given leniency because you don't like global warming and world hunger? Yeah, I guess 135 people, glowing, saying what a wonderful person she is. So lied again and again and again and again and again and again and again. She put people's lives at risk with blood tests that they knew were wrong. Okay, you come on. At some point in time, there has to be some sort of repercussions for your actions. So let's get 11 years. And to think that this is a good person. She's pregnant with her second child. This is a sociopath. Okay? Who decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to have another child. I'm facing 25 years in prison. You think it's a good idea? That's someone who is sane, someone who is responsible in their thinking, that they're going to go ahead and get themselves pregnant? No, this was somebody who got pregnant. I'm sorry, you don't know that? Well, I'm saying it. In my opinion, got pregnant because she wanted leniency. Again, it's sociopath. Another one bites dust. Yesterday, BlockFi files for bankruptcy as latest crypto casualty. And another one bites dust. Was this one of the ones that SBF was planning on bailing out? I guess. There's a interview of CME chairman Terry Duffy. He interviewed about Sam Bankman-Fried when he met with Sam Bankman-Fried back in March of this year. He was approached by Fried at a conference and told him he wanted to compete with the CME in crypto. Instead, Duffy offered to give SBF his crypto franchises in exchange for working together. Let me be your risk manager. I'll clear it so it's done properly. When SBF asked if Duffy would deploy his model, Duffy told him, your model is crap. Why would I deploy a model that introduces risk into the system? Of course, I'm not going to deploy your model. This guy's got 50 years experience in this. And SBF rebuked them there. No, I don't want to work with you. And he called him out right to his face. He says, you're a fraud. You're an absolute fraud. Call him out. And this is at a time when SBF was talking about how altruistic he is. I'm worth 35 billion or 26 billion or whatever the hell it was. And Duffy called him out on this. He said, let me ask you a question. Where's this? You're going to be altruistic. Have you given $1 billion to anybody yet? And he pointed out, he says, I bet you soup to nuts, I have more money in my wallet than you have. Called him out. You know, the funny thing is, you want to take a look at how intertwined people in Washington were to FTX and SBF. I watched an exchange between Ro Khanna and Terry Duffy. This is in front of Congress, and it was rough. Khanna basically calling Duffy a liar when it came to his assessment of cryptocurrencies and what was taking place in that industry. And guess who was right? That's okay. You know, they love Ro Khanna on CNBC. They'll have him on again. Meanwhile, he's always wrong on everything. Anyway, again, it's a lot of stories on crypto. Final price could be zero. Again, I try to get this across. Often I mentioned get rich quick cons, world's second oldest profession. You can go to stories throughout history, talk about greed and what it can do. Whether it be the Greek mythology, the story of Midas. Midas, pretty much a good king, but was very obsessed with money and wealth. And one of Dionysus's satyrs rambled into one of his gardens, and Midas found him, and for Dionysus, and treated him well, and brought him back to Dionysus, and Dionysus granted him a wish, and he's, everything I touch, I want to turn to gold. Dionysus, you sure about that? So, sure enough, pick up a piece of spinach pie. That's turning to gold. You can't eat it. Hug your daughter, turns to gold. And he kind of learned, what his greed, the unintended consequences of his short-sighted thinking was, and went to Dionysus. And this is rare for Greek gods, usually letting you off the hook for bad decisions. That doesn't happen often. In this case, Dionysus let him go. Again, short-sighted thinking, the belief that there is some sort of magical machine out there that makes money, that you're going to get it quick. Just get it out of your head, people. Get it out of your head. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Watchdog on Wall Street. Our website, take advantage of all the great stuff that we have there. Personal CFO program. Take a look at our Alpha Lock portfolios, all the great stuff that we do. Watchdogonwallstreet.com. We'll see you.